So first we will discuss the third cranial nerve, oculomotor nerve. Oculomotor nerve is entirely motor nerve. It supplies the levator palpebrae superioris and all the extrinsic muscle of the eye except the lateral rectus and superior oblique. And it also innervates the sphincter pupillae and ciliaris muscle. See, here is the oculomotor nucleus. Two nuclei are present, oculomotor nuclei and Edinger-Westphal nuclei. From the Edinger-Westphal nuclei, the nerve is relaying in the ciliary ganglion, and from there going to supply the sphincter pupillae and ciliaris muscle. Okay, and from the oculomotor nuclei in the midbrain, it is going to supply the levator palpebrae superioris, superior, medial, inferior, rectus, 3 rectus and 1 oblique, inferior oblique. So these are the supply of the oculomotor nerve. This is a motor nerve supplying the most of the extrinsic muscles of the eyeball that helps in movement of the eyeball. Okay. Next. So what are the functional component? Somatic efferent component, it is concerned with movement of the eyeball. Then there is general visceral efferent. It helps in accommodation and constriction of the pupil. And general somatic afferent, it helps in taking this proprioception via these nerves. Okay. Next we go to the nucleus of the third cranial nerve. Nucleus is a nuclear complex made up of cell columns and discrete nuclei. Okay, this is the nuclear complex. It lies ventral to the gray matter around the central aqueduct. Here it is lying. Okay, oculomotor nucleus lies ventral to the, and this is the central canal, and this is cerebral aqueduct mainly, which is continuous downward with the central canal of the spinal cord, around which the gray matter, this circular structure, circular outline of the gray matter, that is known as periaqueductal gray matter. Okay, in front of this periaqueductal gray, this oval shaped nucleus, this is oculomotor nuclei. Okay, so it lies ventral to the, so this part is the ventral, this part is dorsum. This is a section through the midbrain. Okay, midbrain have tectum. Dorsally there are two colliculi, superior and inferior colliculi. They are forming the tectum. And rest of the part is known as tegmentum. This whole of the part is the tegmentum. Okay, so this nuclei lies ventral. So this part is anteriorly. These are forming the cerebellar peduncles. Cerebral peduncles. Okay, it lies ventral to the gray matter around the cerebral aqueduct at the level of superior colliculus. These are the superior colliculi. See here. Next, superiorly it approaches the floor of the third ventricle, and inferiorly it is continuous with the trochlear nerve nuclei. So that was cross section or transverse section through the midbrain. This is a sagittal section. So this part is midbrain. Here is pons. Here is medulla. So in the midbrain portion, see, this is the oculomotor nucleus. Below this nucleus, here lies the trochlear nucleus. Okay, the oculomotor nerve is coming out ventrally. Most of the cranial nerves are coming out ventrally. Only cranial nerve coming out dorsally is this trochlear nerve. Okay, understood? This is very important for your MCQ. Which cranial nerve is coming out from the dorsal aspect? Only cranial nerve, that is trochlear nerve. And see, this is central aqueduct, aqueduct of Sylvius connecting third ventricle with this fourth ventricle. So the nuclei is lying ventral to this aqueductal gray matter. Okay, understood? Position. So superiorly it approaches the floor of the third ventricle. Here is third ventricle. And inferiorly it is continuous with the trochlear nerve nucleus. Next, Okay, so the nucleus consists of main oculomotor nucleus. It consists of large multipolar cells. And Edinger-Westphal nucleus or accessory oculomotor nucleus, it consists of small multipolar cells. So these two are main important nucleus for oculomotor nerve. Next, Edinger-Westphal nucleus is very important for your different reflex pathways. Okay, light reflex, accommodation reflex, like this. So next is main motor nucleus. One centrally placed caudal nucleus supplies to both the levator palpebrae superioris and 4 lateral paired subnuclei that innervate these 4, 3 recti and 1 oblique. Superior rectus supplied by paramedial nucleus, inferior rectus by dorsolateral, inferior oblique and medial rectus. Inferior oblique by intermedial and medial rectus by ventromedial nuclei. These are not important. You remember the muscles which is innervated by the oculomotor nerve. Okay. Next. So actions from one superior rectus subnucleus cross and pass through opposite superior rectus subnucleus to innervate the collateral superior rectus. Thus, a lesion of superior rectus subnucleus results in bilateral superior rectus palsy. Okay, this is the region. And levator palpebrae superioris has bilateral supply, while all other extraocular muscle get ipsilateral supply. Okay, so there is less chance of paralysis of this muscle because it is getting supply from both the sides, from right and left. Next. Next, we go to the course and relation of the third cranial nerve. So efferent fibers from third nerve nuclei, they pass through medial longitudinal fasciculus, red nucleus, substantia nigra, and medial aspect of the cerebral peduncles. See here, this is cerebral aqueduct, periaqueductal gray, nuclei lying ventral to this periaqueductal gray matter. Okay, then it is coming ventrally, it is crossing this red nucleus, then substantia nigra, then cerebral peduncles and coming out ventrally. Okay, one on each side. Emerges from the ventral aspect of the midbrain and pass into the interpeduncular space. Okay, so this here it is coming out. Next is nerve descends anteriorly in the interpeduncular fossa between the posterior cerebral and superior cerebellar arteries. Here, in between two arteries, the nerve is passing. Here, okay, oculomotor nerve is passing between posterior cerebral and superior cerebellar. Superior cerebellar is a fine branch. This is a large branch, posterior cerebral. And unaccompanied by any other cranial nerve, isolated third nerve pulses are frequently basilar. Okay. Next. Okay. So, after coming out from the ventral aspect of the midbrain, it passing forward and it is superomedial to the trochlear nerve and inferolateral and parallel to the posterior communicating artery. This is one important relation, and it pierces the dura mater between the free and attached margin of the tentorium to reach the cavernous sinus. Okay. Then it lies within the cavernous sinus. Next. So it traverses the posterior part of the roof of the cavernous sinus here. See this is body of the sphenoid. This is pituitary gland, pituitary stalk, sphenoid sinus. On the two sides of the body, these are the cavernous sinus, sections of the cavernous sinus. In the floor, the artery is the internal carotid artery. Okay, and these are the nerves. 3, this one is oculomotor, trochlear, and the branches of fifth cranial nerve, ophthalmic and maxillary, passes through the cavernous sinus. And also the sixth cranial nerve, abducens nerve, also passes through the cavernous sinus. So it traverses the posterior part of the roof of the sinus to reach its lateral wall. And in the wall, trochlear nerve and first and second divisions of trigeminal nerve are inferolateral to it. Okay, first and second division of fifth cranial nerve is inferolateral to it. Abducent nerve and internal carotid artery is inferomedial. You can see the relation. Abducent nerve and internal carotid artery is inferomedial to this third cranial nerve. Next, see the course here. From the midbrain, it is coming out on the ventral aspect, then passing forward, lying within the cavernous sinus, and then it is dividing into two branches, superior and inferior, and giving branch to the extraocular muscles. See here, the superior rectus, medial rectus, inferior rectus, okay. All these are supplied by this branch from this third cranial nerve. Next, at the anterior part of the sinus, the nerve divides into a small superior and large inferior branch. And these two divisions of the nerve enter the orbit through the middle part of superior orbital fissure in the annulus of Jean. It passes through the annulus of Jean. Annulus of Jean was dividing the superior orbital fissure into medial, intermediate and lateral part. So this oculomotor nerve is passing through the intermediate part within the annulus of Jean. Here you can see this is superior orbital fissure. Oculomotor nerve is entering into the orbit through this superior orbital fissure and entering into the annulus of Jean. This green one is the annulus of Jean and dividing into smaller superior branch and larger inferior branch. Okay. Next, the nerve is crossed by trochlear nerve, which becomes superomedial to it. An abducent nerve lies first inferior and then lateral to the divisions of the nerve. Trochlear, frontal and lacrimal nerves, LFT, okay, lacrimal, frontal and trochlear nerve traverse the fissure above the annulus of Jean. Okay, here, that means in the lateral compartment, they are passing lacrimal, frontal and trochlear. Next, the supply of these two divisions, superior and inferior division. So superior division, it diverges medially above the optic nerve and behind the nasociliary nerve supplies the superior rectus and levator palpebri superioris muscle. Here you can see it, superior rectus, and here is the levator palpebri superioris. These two are supplied by superior division of the third cranial nerve. And this is superior oblique. This is supplied by trochlear nerve here. Trochlear nerve is coming to supply superior rectus, superior oblique. Okay. Next we go to inferior division. It divides immediately into branches to supply the medial rectus, inferior rectus and inferior oblique muscle. And nerve to inferior oblique enters the muscle as 2 to 3 branches, also supply a ramus to the ciliary ganglion. Okay, so this is the inferior division supplying the inferior rectus, inferior oblique. All these are supplied by this inferior division. Next is ciliary ganglion. Okay, it is one important ganglion, parasympathetic ganglion. Roots of the ciliary ganglion, sensory root comes from the nasociliary nerve. Here, this is ciliary ganglion. Here is the nasociliary nerve. So, sensory root is coming from this nasociliary nerve. Parasympathetic root arises from the nerve to the inferior oblique muscle. Okay, and sympathetic root is a branch from the internal carotid plexus. Around the internal carotid artery, it is forming plexus, parasympathetic fibers. So here this is showing the parasympathetic fibers. Okay, here is the red one is the sympathetic fibers and blue one is the sensory fibers. All those fibers are lying within this ganglia. Okay. And for the parasympathetic, it is a relay center. Ciliary ganglion is a relay center for parasympathetic nerves. Next, branches, it gives 15 to 20 short ciliary nerves, contains fibers of all the three roots of ciliary ganglion. Okay. Next we go to Edinger-Westphal nucleus. It is also a parasympathetic nucleus interposed between the two main nuclei. Okay. Two main oculomotor nuclei, it lying between the two main oculomotor nuclei, composed of small multipolar cells of preganglionic autonomic type, and preganglionic neuronal actions from this form the visceral component of oculomotor nerve, earlier regarded as pupillomotor center. Okay, that it is controlling mainly muscles of the pupil. Next, so location of the pupillomotor fiber in the part of oculomotor nerve which lies between the brainstem and cavernous sinus, the pupillomotor parasympathetic fibers are located superficially and superomedially in this part of the oculomotor nerve. Okay, next. Oculomotor nerve gets blood supply from various branches from basilar artery in the brainstem, and internal and external carotid artery. So these are the blood supply of the oculomotor nerve. Okay, and this is pupillomotor fiber lying superficially. Okay, pupillomotor fibers derive their blood supply from the pial blood vessels, whereas the main trunk is supplied by vasa nervorum. Okay, this is vasa nervorum, and these are the pial blood vessels. They are supplying the pupillomotor fibers. Next, what are the functions? It helps in elevation of the upper eyelid, as it is supplies the levator palpebrae superioris. All the movements of the eye except lateral down and outward movement are done by the oculomotor nerve. And in case of paralysis, there will be miosis, accommodation and light reflex. This is maintained by this oculomotor nerve, that via this parasympathetic innervation from the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. Okay. So in case of paralysis of oculomotor nerve, there will be pupillary dilatation and these reflexes will be lost. Accommodation and light reflexes will be lost. Next we go to fourth cranial nerve or trochlear nerve. So it is also, all these three nerves are motor, third, fourth and sixth. Okay, mainly motor fibers are present. It is purely motor nerve, supplies the superior oblique muscle, SO4. You can remember SO4, LR6 and rest supplied by the third cranial nerve. Okay, SO4 is superior oblique is supplied by fourth cranial nerve or trochlear nerve. LR6, that means lateral rectus, is supplied by the abducent nerve, and rest of the extraocular muscles are supplied by the third cranial nerve that we have discussed previously, oculomotor nerve. Okay. So nerve supply of extraocular muscle is very, very movement, and the movements of the eyeballs are important. Done by which muscle? So trochlear nerve, it is purely motor nerve, supplies the superior oblique muscle. The nerve is named for the trochlea, the fibrous pulley through which the tendon of the superior oblique muscle passes. Okay, you have seen in previous picture the superior oblique is passes through a pulley and then going to be attached over the eyeball. So according to this pulley, it has the name, nerve has been given name trochlear nerve. It is crossed most slender, smallest nerve and has longest intracranial course. This is also important for your MCQ. Longest intracranial course has trochlear nerve, almost 7.5 centimeter of all the cranial nerves. Okay, and it is only cranial nerve to emerge from the dorsal aspect of the brain. These points are important for your MCQ questions. Next, So what are the functional components of trochlear nerve? Somatic efferent and general somatic afferent. Somatic efferent are concerned with movement of the eyeball, supplying superior oblique, and general somatic afferent, it carries proprioceptive impulses from superior oblique muscle to the mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve. Okay, this is the general somatic afferent. Next we go to the nuclei. Trochlear nuclei is situated at the level of superior border of inferior colliculi. Okay, this is a section through the inferior colliculi. Here is inferior colliculi. Previous one was section through the superior colliculus, just above this inferior colliculi. Okay, there you have seen the oculomotor nuclei. Here in this section, at the level of inferior colliculi, you will see the trochlear nucleus, just as the position of oculomotor, ventral to this periaqueductal gray here. Okay, you have seen in sagittal section, trochlear nucleus is lying just below the oculomotor nuclei. Okay, so this is a section below. So here is the location of trochlear nuclei, situated at the level of superior border of inferior colliculus, and it is in the dorsum of the tegmentum of the midbrain, ventrolateral to the cerebral aqueduct. Ventrolateral, this is cerebral aqueduct, ventrolateral to the cerebral aqueduct, and dorsum, this part is tegmentum, so in the dorsum of the tegmentum. Okay, and dorsal to the medial longitudinal fasciculus. Okay, now after coming out from the nuclei, it is going to the dorsal aspect, crossing each other and coming out from the dorsal aspect of the midbrain. Okay, like this. Then it is winding round the lateral aspect and going to the anteriorly and traverses through the cavernous sinus and then entering through the superior orbital fissure, enter into the orbit, supplying the superior oblique. Okay, that is the course mainly. Next. So, continuous with the third nerve nucleus superiorly. See, this is trochlear nerve nucleus. And this is oculomotor nucleus. Okay, next. Next, we go to the course and relation. From each nucleus, nerve fibers first run laterally to the mesencephalic nucleus of fifth cranial nerve. Okay, and then somewhat downward and parallel to the aqueduct. Here, one nerve has been shown. It is going laterally to the mesencephalic nucleus and then going somewhat downward and parallel to the aqueduct. Next. At the lower border of inferior colliculi, they turn medially to decussate in the superior medullary velum. Here, it is crossing with each other, and hence each superior oblique is supplied by contralateral trochlear nucleus. Okay, course is important to know which nuclei is supplying. Okay, if paralysis occurs in one side, opposite sided superior oblique will be paralysis because there is crisscross between these nerves. Okay. Next, after crossing in the superior medullary velum, the nerve emerges on the dorsal aspect of superior cerebellar peduncle and then curves around the peduncle at the upper border of the pons. Here, see, this is oculomotor nerve. Here is the trochlear nerve is coming out on the dorsal aspect, going anteriorly, okay, to supply the superior oblique. Next, it passes between posterior cerebral and superior cerebellar arteries while this course nerve is inferomedial to the free margins of the tentorium cerebelli. Okay. Here is the here you can see the trochlear nuclei, and this is the trochlear nerve passing through cavernous sinus, through the superior orbital fissure, entering into the orbit, supplying the superior oblique. Okay, and it is this relation, it passing between the two arteries, in posterior cerebral artery above and superior cerebellar artery is lying below the nerve. Okay, both the third and fourth is lying in between two arteries. Next, nerve enters in the cavernous sinus on the posterior part of its roof and goes to its lateral wall. Here, fourth, the four marked one, this is trochlear nerve. And where it is superomedial to the first and second division of the trigeminal nerve and abducent nerve and internal carotid artery. Okay, all these are lying in relation with the nerve. Two divisions of fifth cranial nerve, internal carotid artery, abducent nerve. Next, while passing through the sinus oculomotor nerve, first superomedial to the trochlear nerve, and then trochlear nerve cross over and become itself medial to it at the entry in the superior orbital fissure. In the upper region of the fissure above the annular tendency, this is optic canal. Okay, through the optic canal is passing the optic nerve, ophthalmic artery, and this green one is annulus of Jean, and this retort shaped structure is the superior orbital fissure. So this is intermediate compartment. Through the intermediate compartment passing two divisions of oculomotor nerve, okay, and abducent nerve, and above this annulus of Jean, this part, through this part passing the LFT, lacrimal nerve, frontal nerve, trochlear nerve. Okay, so it is passing in the upper region of the superior orbital fissure above the annulus tendon, where frontal and lacrimal nerves are superolateral to the trochlear nerve. Next, the nerve enter in orbit, fans out into 3 to 4 branches to supply the superior oblique muscle on its superior surface. So this is the course you have seen, trochlear nerve entering into the orbit, dividing into 3 to 4 branches, supplying the superior oblique muscle. And here you can see this is the pulley or trochlea. Here the muscle is hooking around this pulley and then it is going to insert into the eyeball. Next, number of fibers in the intraorbital part of the trochlear nerve are greater than its intracranial part, and these extra fibers are carrying the proprioceptive impulses from the superior oblique muscle and leave the trochlear nerve to join the ophthalmic division of the fifth cranial nerve in the cavernous sinus. It is lying in close relation. Ultimately, these fibers relay in the mesencephalic nucleus of the fifth nerve. Okay, this nucleus is mainly for this proprioception and other senses. Next, what are the function? Superior oblique muscle primarily rotates the tip of the eye towards the nose. That is, it helps in intorsion. Secondarily, moves the eye downward, helps in depression of the eyeball, and tertiary function is to move the eye outward, that is abduction. The function of superior oblique, intorsion, depression, abduction. Okay, and trochlear nerve typically allows a person to view the tip of his or her nose. Okay, next we go to the sixth cranial nerve, that is abducent nerve, entirely motor nerve and supplies to the lateral rectus muscle, LR6. Most vulnerable cranial nerve to be damaged in traumas involving the cranium. Here, this is abducent nerve. This is coming out mainly in the pontomedullary junction. See, this part is midbrain. Here is pons, here is medulla. Abducent nerve is coming out from mainly in the pontomedullary junction. Okay, then extending out anteriorly, passing through the cavernous sinus, entering through the annulus of Jean via the superior orbital fissure into the orbit, supplying the lateral rectus muscle. Helps in lateral deviation of the eyeball. So this point is important for your MCQ. Most vulnerable cranial nerve to get damaged in traumas is traumas involving the cranium. Okay. Next, see here, abducent nucleus is lying within the pons. Okay, and this nerve is coming out through the ventral aspect, then passing through the cavernous sinus, entering through the superior orbital fissure, through the annulus of gene along with the oculomotor nerve, supplying the lateral rectus. And this is internal carotid artery. It is lying in close relation with the artery within the floor of this cavernous sinus. Okay. Next. So what are the functional component? Somatic efferent for lateral movement of the eye, general somatic afferent for proprioceptive impulses which are carried to the mesencephalic nucleus of the fifth nerve. Next. Now these are the nucleus. Abducent nucleus is small mass of large multipolar cells in floor of the fourth ventricle, ventral to the colliculus fascicularis, and where it is closely related to the horizontal gaze center PPRF. Okay, and fasciculus of the seventh cranial nerve. There is abducent nucleus is present. See here one important point. Here is the sixth cranial nerve nucleus, that is abducent nucleus. Here is the seventh cranial nerve nucleus. Okay. So seventh cranial nerve is facial nerve. This facial nerve is winding around the abducent nerve nucleus and forming a elevation in the floor of the fourth ventricle. Okay, that is known as facial colliculus. Okay, in the floor of the fourth ventricle. After that, it is coming out through the ventral aspect of the pontomedullary junction lateral to this sixth nerve. Okay, this relation between sixth and seventh nerve is important, and formation of facial colliculus, and this bed is known as internal genu of the seventh cranial nerve. Next, numerous small multipolar cells intermingled with these large cells which form so-called nucleus paraabducens, and fibers from these cells relay in the oculomotor nucleus via the medial longitudinal fasciculus. Okay, main important nucleus is previous one. Next, now we go to the course and relation. Efferent fibers start from the nucleus, traverse through the tegmentum, parapontine reticular formation, PPRF, and pyramidal tract. Here, this is abducent nucleus. This is fourth ventricular cavity. So this elevation is facial colliculus. The seventh nerve is winding around the sixth nerve nuclei at the floor of this facial colliculus. From here, it is passing through the paramedian pontine reticular formation with PPRF, then passing through the tegmentum and coming out through the ventral aspect. Then leave the brainstem at the pontomedullary junction just lateral to the pyramidal prominence. Okay, this location is important where it is coming out lateral to the pyramid of the medulla. Okay, at the pontomedullary junction. Lateral to each abducent nerve, there is the emergence of the facial nerve. So here is the facial nerve is emerging. This is abducent nerves is emerging here. Okay. Pontomedullary junction is very, very important. 3 cranial nerves are emerging from medial to lateral, 6th, 7th and 8th. 2 divisions of 8th. Okay. Next. Between the 2 abducent nerves, there is basilar artery at its formation. Okay. Here is the abducent nerve of this side. This is another side, and this is the basilar artery. Here it is forming. Just after emergence, nerve enter in the prepontine basilar cistern. Okay, and then it passes upward close to the base of the skull and is crossed by anterior inferior cerebellar artery. Here, this is the course you can see. Next, it pierces the dura below the posterior clinoid. Here is the posterior clinoid. Here it is piercing the dura and angles forward over the tip of the petrous part of temporal bone nerve passes around the inferior petrosal sinus in the anterolateral direction under the petroclinoid ligament, Doloro's canal, to enter in the cavernous sinus. Here it is entering within the cavernous sinus. Here lies the Doloro's canal. Next, in the cavernous sinus, nerve runs forward almost horizontally, being inferolateral to the internal carotid artery and its sympathetic plexus. Here, this is cross section through the cavernous sinus. In the floor lying this internal carotid artery. Around the artery, this is sympathetic plexus. Here is oculomotor nerve, trochlear nerve, abducens nerve, two divisions, ophthalmic and maxillary division of the trigeminal nerve. Okay. And abducens nerve is usually in the sinus and nerve runs out at the anterior end of the sinus, enter in the superior orbital fissure. Here it is passing through the cavernous sinus, entering into the orbit through superior orbital fissure. Next, it traverses the fissure through its middle part within the annulus of Ginn. We have discussed, seen in the previous picture. At first, it is below the division of third nerve and then between the two divisions of the third nerve, superior, inferior, and it is lateral to the nasociliary nerve. Next, see here, this is the abducent nerve. Okay, two division of the oculomotor nerve, and here is the nasociliary nerve. So then in the orbit, the nerve divides into 3 to 4 filaments, and which enter the ocular surface of the lateral rectus. Here, dividing into 3 to 4 branches, entering into lateral rectus. Behind its midpoint, function is lateral movement of the eye. Next, variation in the sixth cranial nerve may arise by two roots which pass separately to the superior orbital fissure, and it may give rise to a branch to the ciliary ganglion. The nasociliary nerve may be a branch of the abducent nerve. Abducent nerve may be absent and being replaced by oculomotor nerve. All these are variations of this sixth cranial nerve. Orbital and tentorial surfaces of the frontal and temporal lobes of both the cerebral hemispheres. Interpeduncular fossa, ventral aspects of the brainstem. Brainstem consists of these three structures: midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata, and also the cerebellum. And the superficial attachments of cranial nerve, that also we will see today. Okay, so these are the presenting parts of the base of the brain. See here, this is the inferior surface of the brain. This part is the cerebrum. Here is the cerebellum. Okay, and these two are the crus cerebri. Crus cerebri. This part is pons. Here is the medulla. Medulla. These elevations, midline, just lateral to the midline. These elevations are known as the pyramid. And lateral to the pyramid, there are two elevations. Those are known as olives. Okay. Cranial roots of the cranial nerves are coming out from this junction. We will discuss the individual nerves. See here, this is the tentorial surface. Sorry, this is orbital surface. Here is the tentorial surface of the brain, and this area is known as interpeduncular fossa. This is very important. We will discuss the boundaries. See here, anteriorly, this area is interpeduncular fossa. It is bounded anteriorly by these optic nerves, optic chiasma, and optic tract. See, these two are the optic nerves joining to form the optic chiasma, and here are the two optic tracts. Okay, on each side, it is bounded by the crus cerebri. This shaded area is forming the crus cerebri, and posteriorly it is bounded by the brainstem. Okay, midbrain, pons, medulla, like this. Okay, and here is the cerebellum. and see the contents of this interpeduncular fossa. Anteriorly, here is the contents of the interpeduncular fossa behind the optic chiasma. This is infundibulous stalk. Okay, it is connected with the pituitary gland. These rounded structures have the mammillary bodies. Okay, and behind it, here lies the posterior perforating substance. So all these are content of this interpeduncular fossa, and here the oculomotor nerves are coming out. These are the third cranial nerve. This is coming out medial to the crus cerebri. Okay, and lateral to the crus cerebri lies the trochlear nerve, fourth cranial nerve. Okay, understood? And at the pontocerebellar junction, this cerebellum is connected to the three parts of the brainstem via three peduncles, three pairs of peduncles, superior, middle and inferior. Superior peduncle connects it with the midbrain. Okay, middle cerebellar peduncle connects it with the pons, and inferior cerebellar peduncle with the medulla oblongata. Okay, so here these are the middle cerebellar peduncles, and at the junction with the cerebellum, these are the roots of the fifth cranial nerve, trigeminal nerve. Okay. Laterally, larger root is the sensory root. Medially, motor root is the smaller root. Okay. Now, at the junction between pons and medulla, just above the pyramid, at the pontomedullary junction, just above the pyramid, arises the sixth cranial nerve. This is abducens nerve. Okay. Now, at the groove between the pyramid and olive, here comes out the rootlets of the hypoglossal nerve between the pyramid and olive. Okay, that's why you have to know different parts of the medulla. And lateral to the olive, junction between the olive and the inferior cerebellar peduncle. From here comes out 9, 10 and 11 cranial nerve. See here. 9, 10 and 11 cranial nerve. 11 cranial nerve comes out by two roots, cranial root and spinal root. Spinal root enters the cranial cavity through the foramen magnum, and cranial root comes out below the vagus. Okay, lateral to the olive. And here near the junction between the olive at the uppermost end, here comes out the eighth cranial nerve, vestibulocochlear nerve. It has two roots, vestibular root and cochlear root. Okay, they are coming out at the junction between the cerebellum and the medulla near the inferior cerebellar peduncle at the uppermost part. Okay, so medial to lateral at the pontomedullary junction comes out. Medialmost is the abducens nerve, that is sixth cranial nerve. Lateral to it will be the facial nerve, and lateralmost is the auditory nerve or vestibulocochlear nerve, eighth cranial nerve. Okay, so we have seen all the 12 cranial nerves. So see here, first is olfactory nerve. Olfactory nerve, it is lying in the olfactory sulcus of the orbital surface. Okay, this is olfactory bulb, olfactory tract, dividing into two olfactory stria. In between the two olfactory stria, dotted structure you can see, these are the anterior perforating substances. Okay, so these are forming roots of the first cranial nerve. Second cranial nerve is optic nerve. Okay, these optic nerve are coming out from the orbit through the optic canals. Okay, then third cranial nerve lies medial to this crus cerebri. These are the oculomotor or third cranial nerve. Fourth cranial nerve is coming out lateral to the crus cerebri here. Okay, trochlear nerve. Fifth cranial nerve at the junction between the middle cerebellar peduncle with this cerebellum. Okay, these are the two roots. Larger root is sensory root lying laterally. Smaller root is motor root lying medially. Fifth cranial nerve or trigeminal nerve. Then sixth is the abducens nerve, just above the pyramid at the pontomedullary junction. Then sixth is abducens. Then seventh is coming out and from the pontomedullary junction lateral to the abducens. Okay. Then seventh is done. Next eighth is also coming out lateral to the seventh nerve. Vestibulocochlear nerve. It is coming out via two routes. Okay. Seventh and two routes, motor and sensory routes of seventh cranial nerve and vestibulocochlear nerve has been shown here. Okay. After that, eighth is done. Now ninth, 10th and 11th, they are coming out lateral to the olive at the junction between and the groove between the olive and inferior cerebellar peduncle. From above downward, 9th, 10th and 11th, cranial root of 11th. And spinal root of 11th will join with the cranial root coming inside the cranial cavity through the foramen magnum. Okay, 9th, 10th, 11th below. Next is 12. Rootlets of the 12 is coming out at the junction between the pyramid and the olive. Okay, so all the 12 cranial nerves where they are coming out, it is clear. No queries regarding this. Okay, next we go to the next part. Okay, so this is the brain viscera. You will see this is olfactory bulb, tract and stria. This is anterior perforating substance. Here you can see the boundaries of the interpeduncular fossa, optic nerve, optic chiasma, optic tract. Okay, behind the optic chiasma, here is the one opening. Okay, through which passes the tuber cinerarium or infundibular stalk. Okay, which is connected with the pituitary gland. Posterior to it, these rounded structures you can see two small rounded structures. These are the mammillary bodies. Okay. On the two sides will be the crus cerebri, okay, and this nerve coming out medial to the crus cerebri. These are the oculomotor nerves, and here lateral to the crus cerebri will be the trochlear nerve. This fine nerve you can see, that is trochlear nerve. Now this part is the pons. Here is the medulla oblongata. Okay, in the lateral part of the pons, near its junction with the middle cerebral peduncle, these are the trigeminal nerve is coming out from here. Now this is pontomedullary junction. Here is the pyramid just lateral to the midline. These are the pyramids. Here are the olives. Okay. So in between the pyramid and olive, hypoglossal rootlets. Above the pyramid will be the abducens nerve. Lateral to it will be the facial and vestibulocochlear. Okay. And lateral to the olive will be the glossopharyngeal vagus and spinal accessory. Okay, so these are the rootlets of different cranial nerves are coming out from the base of the brain like this. Okay, and this is the boundary of the interpeduncular fossa and the components. Components are the tuber cinerarium, mammillary body, in between the two crus cerebri, posterior perforating substance, this oculomotor nerve. Okay, and sometimes optic chiasma. All these are contents of the interpeduncular fossa. And boundaries you can see anterior boundary optic chiasma, optic tract, laterally to crus cerebri, posteriorly the brain stem. Okay, these are the boundary. And here in this area, over this area lies a circle of blood vessels that is known as circle of Willis. Okay, that is the main blood supply to this base of the brain, circle of Willis. We will discuss in detail. See, this is boundaries and contents of interpeduncular fossa schematic diagram. Optic chiasma, two optic nerves is joining to form optic chiasma, dividing into two optic tracts. So these are forming anterior boundary. Lateral boundary is formed by these two crus cerebri. Okay, crus cerebri here and posteriorly by the brainstem. Okay, pons mainly. And these are the contents: infundibular stalk, tuber cinerarium, mammillary bodies, and posterior perforating substance. Okay, and from the medial boundary of the crus cerebri coming out this oculomotor nerve. From the lateral margin of this crus cerebri coming out this nerve is the trochlear nerve. Okay, understood? And here is the olfactory bulb, olfactory tract and two olfactory stria. In between the two olfactory stria, here lies the anterior perforated substance. Okay, so two perforating substances are there, anterior perforated substance and posterior perforated substance. Okay. Okay, so important structure of the base of brain is interpeduncular fossa. Interpeduncular fossa is a rhomboidal space bounded on either side by crus cerebri of the cerebral peduncles, anteriorly by the optic chiasma and optic tract, posteriorly by the pons. Okay, you can see the boundary anteriorly by the optic chiasma, optic tracts, posteriorly by the pons, on either side by crus cerebri of cerebral peduncles. Okay. Next, we go to the contents. You have seen infundibulum, Tiver cinereum, mammillary bodies, posterior perforated substance, and oculomotor nerve. So it contains a raised area of grey matter lying anterior to the mammillary bodies, that is known as tuber cinereum. Two small spherical bodies is called mammillary bodies. A narrow stalk which connects the hypophysis cerebri with the tuber cinereum, that is known as infundibulum. Infundibulum stalk. Posterior perforated substance which is a layer of grey matter in the angle between the crus cerebral, and it is pierced by central branches of posterior cerebral arteries. Okay. And oculomotor nerve emerges immediately dorsomedial to the corresponding crus. Okay, medial to the crus cerebri. So these are the contents of the interpeduncular fossa. Interpeduncular fossa you prepare as a short note. Okay, and the different cranial nerves coming out from where, that is asked in your viscera table. Okay, where these nerves is coming out, we have to show. Now we go to the circle of Willis. It is an important circle of blood vessels lying over the base of the brain. Okay, it lies on the base of the brain and it is related to the interpeduncular fossa. So this is the circle. It is lying over here. So it is formed by anteriorly by the anterior cerebral arteries and anterior communicating arteries. So this part is the circle of Willis. This artery is known as anterior cerebral artery, and two anterior cerebral arteries are connected by anterior communicating arteries. Posteriorly by two posterior cerebral arteries. These two are the posterior cerebral arteries. These are terminal branches of this basilar artery. Okay, this is basilar artery. Basilar artery is lying on the anterior aspect of the pons. One groove is present, basilar groove. This artery is lying over this basilar groove. Okay. So these two are the posterior cerebral arteries. Here is the middle cerebral artery. This is middle cerebral artery. Internal carotid artery is giving branch. Okay. Middle cerebral artery and anterior cerebral artery. And this middle cerebral artery, it is connected to the posterior cerebral artery by these connecting arteries. These are known as posterior communicating arteries. Okay. So this large artery is the internal carotid artery. It is giving two branches, anterior cerebral artery and middle cerebral artery. And this posterior cerebral artery is branch of basilar artery, and this posterior cerebral artery is connected with the middle cerebral artery by the posterior communicating arteries, and two anterior cerebral arteries are connected by anterior communicating arteries. So all these arteries are together forming a circle and supplying the important structures of the base of the brain. It gives penetrating arteries to the thalamus, hypothalamus, subthalamus and midbrain. All these are supplied from branches from this circle of Willis. Okay. See, practice a schematic diagram like this of circle of Willis, very commonly given short note. Okay, circle of Willis. So this is internal carotid artery giving two branches, anterior cerebral artery, middle cerebral artery. Okay, two anterior cerebral arteries connected by anterior communicating arteries. This is basilar artery giving branches, posterior cerebral artery. Posterior cerebral artery is connected with middle cerebral, or you can say with the internal carotid via this posterior communicating artery. Okay, so all these are together forming the circle of Willis. And see here, this is posterior cerebral artery. After that, it is giving this branch. This is superior cerebellar artery. You have read the relation. Third and fourth cranial nerve is passing in between these two arteries. In between posterior cerebral artery above and superior cerebellar artery below. Okay, cerebellum is lying below this level. Those anterior olfactory components of olfactory pathway has been shown. Olfactory nerves are nerve fibers are lying in the nasal roof of the nasal cavity. Okay, olfactory epithelium. From there, olfactory nerves are entering into this olfactory bulb. Here, one relay first order neurons are ending here. After that, second order neurons are starting in this olfactory bulb, and they are traveling through this olfactory tract, then going through the olfactory stria, then they will enter into the air olfactory cortex, okay, which is lying over this uncus. You have read during the functional areas of the brain, okay, area 28 olfactory area, and this is anterior perforating substance lying between the two olfactory stria, okay, and this part is forming interpedunculaire fossa. Anterior boundary is formed by this optic nerve, optic chiasma, optic tract. Okay. These are the different sulci and gyri that you have seen in your viscera. So over the orbital surface, pink one is orbital surface, olfactory, 8 separate. Here is the olfactory sulcus and 8 separate sulcus, two main sulci. Okay, 8 separate orbital sulcus. Over the tentorial surface, collateral sulcus, rhinal sulcus, and occipitotemporal sulcus. These are the important sulci over the tentorial surface. And gyri at the medial to this olfactory sulcus is the gyrus recti. And this 8 separate sulci is dividing the orbital surface, rest of the orbital surface, into anterior, posterior, medial, lateral orbital gyri. Okay, and over this tentorial surface, there are these gyri: lingual gyrus, ear, uncus, parahippocampal gyri, medial and lateral occipitotemporal gyri. So these are the important sulci and gyri over this area. Okay, so understood. You have to see the boundaries and contents of the interpeduncular fossa, circle of Willis if it is present. Okay, and also the roots of the cranial nerve when they are coming out. Okay, so everything will not be present. Those which are present, I will show you. Okay. Okay, now you come in two batches. First 30 people come here, 35. Okay, inferior surface of the two hemisphere. So this whole area is forming the base of the brain. It consists of orbital surface. These parts are the orbital surface, and here is the tentorial surface. And these are the cerebellum, and this part is the pons. Here is the medulla oblongata. Okay, and here will be the midbrain. Okay, and these are the two cerebellar hemispheres connected by this vermis. Okay, and you can see these three parts of the brainstem. Here you can see pons is connected via the middle cerebellar peduncle, and this medulla is connected by inferior cerebellar peduncle. Okay, and for this medulla, this is the midline of the medulla. Just lateral to the midline, these elevations, these are the pyramids. Okay, and just lateral to it, here these elevations are the olives. laterally, this one. Here, these are the olives. Okay, mainly this part is pyramid আর এখানে হচ্ছে olive. Okay, তাহলে এটা this part is pontomedullary junction. Okay, now you see the positions of different cranial nerves. Okay, so in the orbital surface, first see the different sulci and gyri. Over the orbital surface, this straight sulcus, this is known as olfactory sulcus, here over which lies the olfactory. See, this is also one side. This is olfactory bulb, olfactory tract, two olfactory stria. So here is the anterior perforating substance. You can see multiple dot like perforations over here. Anterior perforating substance here in this area. Have you seen? Okay, so this gyri, this olfactory bulb and tract is lying in the olfactory sulcus. So this gyri medial to olfactory sulcus, this is gyrus recti, and here is the eight-sepid sulcus. So it is dividing this area into anterior, posterior, medial, lateral, orbital gyri. Okay, in this area, here is the collateral sulcus, here is the occipito temporal sulcus. Okay, and here is in the anterior part is the rhinal sulcus. So gyri are parahippocampal gyri, and this elevation is the uncus. Here is the medial, here is lateral, occipito-temporal gyri. Okay, and this area is forming the interpeduncular fossa. You see the interpeduncular fossa here. See, these two are the optic nerves. Olfactory is done, you have seen here. These two are the optic nerve joining to form the optic chiasma. Optic chiasma is again dividing into two optic tract. Okay, so this optic chiasma and optic tract is forming anterior boundary of the interpeduncular fossa, and on the two sides these thick structures, two thick structures you can see here. These are the crus cerebri. These two are forming the lateral boundary of the interpeduncular fossa, and where these crus are joining here at this angle, this is forming the posterior boundary. This is formed by the pons. This part is pons, and where it is joining, here lies the posterior perforating substance at the angle between the two crus cerebri. Okay, now see the content. Just behind this optic chiasma, here this gray matter structure, this stalk-like structure you can see, that is known as the tuber cinereum and infundibular stalk. Okay, infundibular stalk is connecting it with the pituitary gland. Okay, and behind it there is mammillary bodies. These structures are the mammillary bodies. Here it has been destroyed actually. Okay, and posterior to the mammillary bodies will lie this posterior perforating substance. Okay, and here this nerve, this white color structure, this nerve is coming out medial to this crus cerebri. So this will be the oculomotor nerve or third cranial nerve, and laterally will be the fourth cranial nerve. If it is present, I will show you. No, it is not present. Okay, and you can see these thin structures. These are the vessels. Okay, see, in front of the pons, here lies one groove that is known as basilar groove. Okay, so here lies the basilar artery. So this will be the basilar artery dividing into two posterior cerebral arteries. Okay, and here lies the internal carotid artery giving anterior cerebral artery and middle cerebral artery. Middle cerebral artery lying within the lateral sulcus of the brain. Okay, and two anterior cerebral arteries connected here by the anterior communicating artery, and middle and posterior cerebral artery connected by posterior communicating artery. So here it is formation of circle of Willis. Okay, understood? So you have seen here olfactory nerve will lie here, and optic, these are the optic nerves. These are the oculomotor nerve. Lateral to the crus cerebri will be the fourth trochlear nerve. Then we go to fifth cranial nerve here. Ventral part of the pons in this area. Okay, এখানে it comes out through this area. এখানে দেখাচ্ছি যদি আছে। In this section, this part is midbrain. Okay, pons and medulla. This is olfactory nerve. With the olfactory tract is left here, chiasma and olfactory tract. These are parts of the circle of Willis. Circle of Willis. This is mammillary body. One mammillary body is present here. See, this rounded structure, elevated structures you can see, that is mammillary body. Okay, and this part is posterior perforating substance. আর এখানে medially olfactory nerve is not present. Cochlear is also not present. And here in this position, here is the comes out the fifth cranial nerve, trigeminal nerve. Okay, and here also you can see this is midline. Okay, midline lateral to the midline. Here is the pyramid. Here is the olive. Okay, in between pyramid and olive, here are the 12 cranial nerve rootlets. These are very fine rootlets. Okay, above the pyramid, here will be the abducent nerve. Okay, এখানে যদি আছে এখানেও নেই। Okay, above the pyramid comes out the abducent nerve. Lateral to it, here in this area will come out the seventh facial and auditory vestibulocochlear nerve. And here lateral to the olive in this group comes out from above downward glossopharyngeal, vagus and spinal accessory, cranial root of spinal accessory. Spinal root enters into cranial cavity through foramen magnum and joins the cranial root. Okay, understood? So you have seen the rootlets of positions of coming out all those cranial nerves, boundaries of interpeduncular fossa, contents of the interpeduncular fossa and circle of Willis. Okay, understood? So this whole area is forming the base of the brain. Okay, understood? Okay, that's all.